Next step, let's go ahead and learn how to create the wheels for the FastCar. Wheels are actually simple. So here's the actual class page. I'm going to go ahead for FastCar, and inside this link you're going to see here's the actual measurements. You should have already had the draft done, reviewed and signed off. And I'm now in Tinkercad. I'm going to hit new 3D design. Again, it comes up at an angle. Don't work ever at an angle. Always do 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees. This time we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring a cylinder out onto the work plane. According to my measurements, that cylinder is 30 millimeters by 30 millimeters. So I'm back on my work plane, and I want to set up the work plane. So down here in edit grid, remember for this assignment we're going to be working in millimeters, but if you were to be switching from millimeters to inches, this is where you would be doing it. But we're going to stay in millimeters, and then I'm going to say the update grid. And then the second is I explained before what the point of default is 1.0. Very soon, the next minute or two, I'm going to have you switch to 0.1, and that allows you to have very fine movements, which allows you to design with tremendous precision. So we're going to do this coming very soon. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on my wheel. I see that it's 30 millimeters by 30 millimeters. So I'm going to go 30, return, and 30, return. We have our circle. I'm going to selected it. I'm going to zoom in and center it. So I'm going to click on this tool here. I can leave it like that. Then in order to make it easy, I want to line up dead center. I'm going to take this circle, and now is when I'm going to select 0.1 so I get fine movements. And I want for my I'm looking at these lines right here. See right here, this line? I want this edge of my circle to line up and touch there, and then the dead center of this top of the circle I want to line up. Looks like it is, and then it'll make it easier when I'm counting off and trying to line things up. So I'm going to take, let's say there, and we look pretty good. So I'm going to bring, if we're saying that that's dead center right there, and I'm going to go in closer just to make sure, and I'm going to change the color of this. How about from there again to a lighter color, and I'm not seeing through. Oh, it's probably because it's much thicker. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spin this because our wheel, here goes. I can't see through because look how thick it is. And so one of the issues I have right now is you never can do not ever set a work plane on a curved edge. So I'm going to back this out. I'm going to go to the top. I want these two to be equal, sitting on the same plane. So I'm going to make a square. I'm going to put the square right here next to it. Okay? I'm going to turn off. My square is active. I'm going to turn off, see this button here, the 3D look. And same with this. Now it has the 3D look on, 3D look off, or at least the shadow part. Now it's precise. Now I'm going to spin this. Again, don't set the plane on a surface that is curved. But you can't, but you have to set the plane, or else you can't make any changes. So I'm going to click on the plane tool, and I'm going to set it on this dummy fake flat edge that we put the square down. Now I'm going to click it. Now we can go ahead and work over here, and later on we just delete this. But this flat edge of the square allows us a flat edge so we can set the work plane and work on this object that actually has a curved edge and is virtually impossible to set the plane on. So that's why I have the square here, and eventually we're going to delete it. So here I want to take this cylinder, I want to go ahead and reduce the size of it. Right now the height of it should only be 3 millimeters. So I'm going to click on the white square. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go 3.00, just 3. Return. Now there's the width of our wheel. Now I'm going to spin this. And again, now I have to go reset my plane. Click. Reset the plane. Click. And now it's not as thick, so it's easier to see through and see the grid. Now I'm going to line up dead center of this, and now I'm going to zoom in on it. How about there? I click on that tool, that centers it. This allows me to zoom in on it. I'm looking at that square right there. I want that to be right in the middle. So I'm going to, on my keyboard, I'm bringing it down, and that lines it up. And then over here, I want to let this square to line up with this one here, this line, and there. So now I'm going to say that that is lined up with the X, that is lined up with the Y, and that's going to put me dead center at that point right there, which is going to allow me to go ahead and bring in another cylinder. We'll go ahead and grab this one. I'm going to put this cylinder right here by it, okay? And then I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to say I want this cylinder, if my wheel width, if the width of the wheel is 3 millimeters, and I'm trying to pop a hole through the center of that wheel, then I'm going to make it here, wheel hole, 2.7 by 2.7 by a thickness of at least, let's say 4 millimeters to 5 millimeters. So 2.7, 2.7, so I'm going to click on this one, 2.7. I'm going to come up here, click on 2, and enter. And now I'm going to use the keys. There it is. There's my hole. It's 2.7. This is actually big enough. I'm going to see if I can drag it on and get at least close. I'm going to say right about there. Okay? And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit. And whoops, zoom out a little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and change the color. See if that helps me. How about this color here? And it can't see anything, so my guess is that's a really thick. So I'm going to go sideways. Ooh, it is. Look how thick that is. I'm going to back out so I can reset the plane on that square, because you can't set it on a curved edge. So I'm going to get a plane, I'm going to reset it on the square, and now I'm going to take, right now he's perfect on 2.7, but his height's too big. He only needs to go through this wheel, and this wheel is only 3 millimeters. So why don't we, I'm going to click on the white, let's go ahead and make this axle, or the hole for the axle, let's go ahead and make it just 4 or 5, okay? So I'm going to go 5. Excellent. And now I'm going to take it, I'm using the key, the arrows on my keyboard, and I'm just puncturing right through the hole, okay? Now I'm going to spin this back up again, and there it is. And I'm going to click on the work plane. This is a flat side, the flat part of the circle. Click, and now I'm going to zoom in even further. And whoops, went too far. There. And I'm going to say, well, we had it lined up. Let me go back. And if, now the circle, I threw it off on that last when I reset the work plane, but now I'm going to go ahead and go, I think we're really close, but I still need 4, how about this? I want to get this to line up on this x-axis, so I'm going to bring this square down on the arrow keypad. See, I'm bringing it down. That looks like it's lined up perfectly. And this one here, it looks like it's lined up perfectly. That means that this circle here, I'm going to try and get it down to intersect. And I'm really looking at these squares here, okay? So this guy's going to go to the left a little bit. I don't think that changed much. And this guy here looks like he's already intersected. And if that's true, yes, that looks, I'm going to go to the right just a touch. Nope, that didn't make a difference. And so I think this is as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to back it out a little bit. I'm going to change the color of this hole right here, whoops, to, instead of light yellow, I'm going to change it to the hole color, click, and I'm going to make sure one last time that it's puncturing through. It is. And I'm going to delete the square. I'm going to click, hold, drag the fishing net method, and then I'm going to hit group. And that hole right there in the center, when I click off, it's now an actual hole that's going through. Let me see if I can get that. And I just want to get to the bottom. There it is. There's the hole that's going right through. It's a 2.7 width hole, and it's dead center in a 3 millimeter wheel. 3 millimeter. It's a 2.7 millimeter hole, and it's 3 millimeters wide. And this hits all those specs. So I'm now going to, it's done, and I can move on to my next file.